985, the official is out. It was a very rough translation last time, so that it's more imperative that I make this video. I'd mentioned the cover page in my last video, but still, it's just beautiful to see. Showing the Supernova trio here with Luffy, Kid, and Law, I think it reflects their personalities very well. Where Luffy and Kid, they're fighting each other and they're going after the same thing, while Law, he prefers to do things a lot differently, right? So not saying he's not chasing after the same things, but he's more content going his own route and probably doesn't have the same tenacity that Luffy and Kid have. Just an amazing cover story. But let's get to the good stuff. In 985, again, translations are a lot better. It's the official, obviously. A good translation did come out after that, and it's not that far off from the official, but the early one we know was just, that was pretty terrible. So let's get into it. Kanjuro. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Kanjuro has become one of my favorite characters in Wano, just based off of where he came from, right? One of the more uninteresting characters when we first got introduced to him, from Dressrosa all the way to Wano. Then he just became this monster. Even in his interaction with Izo and Kiku and the Minx, he's pretty diabolical, right? He's telling them everything that happened without any fear. He's drawing people that look exactly like them, but they're headless. He didn't flinch in the face of Izo being there now. Kiku had those menacing words. It didn't do anything to him. He said to show him. He went from being a loyal servant and extremely subservient to the Kozuki to disciplining Momo and saying, well, I'm surprised he survived. It must be the blood of his father, right? It's an amazing transformation, and it's one that I love so much because I enjoy Kanjuro a lot more as an antagonist. So Kanjuro for the win, man. Kanjuro for the win. And we talk about him a little bit more towards the end of the chapter because there's some things that were shown that we can take in multiple ways, but we'll touch on it, right? Luffy and Yamato, that quick conversation, pretty much an information dump. Yamato's asking Luffy to join his crew, to ride on his ship, almost like Oden asked Whitebeard, right? Luffy didn't outright deny her. He didn't say no. However, he's challenging her stance and her approach. I like what the official did here because how Luffy worded it and how Yamato worded everything that went on, like I think I jumped a bit in regards to a conclusion with Yamato and Kaido. So I'll talk about it here. Luffy said, there's no way you can be Oden because Oden was someone everyone loved. And then she said, well, maybe you're more Oden than me. So I'm like, what does she know about Luffy for her to say that? Does she know that everyone loves Luffy? Where they never really got into why she said she's been waiting for Luffy. You remind me of Ace, yeah, that's cool. But why did she say we were waiting for you specifically? That's something obviously is going to come later because Luffy even asked her, like, what do you mean I'm more Oden? Then she goes into how can she be Oden and not be free? Is it because of these shackles? Where I'm like, I'm sure you know Oden's journey where he didn't view himself as free at all while he was in Wano for a long time. And finally, when Whitebeard got there, that's when he, could travel the world. It's stated that she really wanted to go to sea with Ace and his friends. And then the translation messed it up because people were interpreting it as when she was 8, that's when she wanted to go with Ace and her friends, that's not how it's meant to be interpreted at all. It means that when Ace was here, she wanted to go with him, but she's been imprisoned on the island since she was 8. I'm assuming Kaido started to imprison her after she learned of Oden and started to impersonate Oden. So I would assume now, my guess is that Yamato's around 28, 29. That's what I'm assuming Yamato's age is. So that was translated pretty poorly in the scans, right? Prison shackles. Remember, Judge put handcuffs on Sanji to use him for whatever reason. Kaido, obviously, he wants to use Yamato for a reason that we know of. And it's the same thing. Of course, Sanji knew the true nature of his father, so he wasn't surprised that he did that. To Sanji, he's done worse things. And Yamato's the same way, to be honest. She says that the mere possibility of that keeps her trapped in Wano. And she says, I know what my father is like. It's not something that's surprising. He would do something like that. Of course, he killed Oden. So for her, she understands the nature of someone like Kaido. Luffy's somewhat still skeptical based off of his interactions. He said, well, I can take him off. Do you really want to fight on our side? I mean, you will have to watch me whooping Kaido right before your eyes. And Yamato goes on to say she wished she could do the same. Now, this translation, it's a bit more clear because how it was worded in the previous one was, it seemed like Kaido was just beating up on Yamato, right? Just abusing her as a father, where people mentioned in the comment section, well, Garp kind of beat up on Luffy when he was younger, right? And I felt like the tone was different, but that was me jumping to a conclusion from a bad translation. Here, it's a lot more clear in regards to what it meant, where she's saying, do you know how many times he's beaten me since childhood? And she said she's challenged him, right? So she's challenged him to a duel or a fight, and Kaido being Kaido, he beat her up. And one could say that's him trying to toughen her up, because obviously she learned the Thunder Bagua, and she's fairly strong herself, so it worked. But it's just like Luffy and Garp, where Garp was just trying to make Luffy tough and strong, and Garp had a route for Luffy that he didn't follow, like Kaido had a route for Yamato that she's not going to follow, right? She wants to be Oden, and Kaido wants her to be the Shogun of New Onigashima, which we'll talk about in a second. Kaido's speech though, I like how he acknowledged the fact that the world government, they're not just going to disband the warlords all willy-nilly. They absolutely have a plan and something they're confident in. Whatever this new force is, they feel like it can stop us. And so for Kaido acknowledging that, I think that's all but guaranteed that SSG comes to Wano. We will get a glimpse of this new force in Wano, unless this war goes past Wano, which I'll talk about at some point this week, the encapsulating war. And Kaido's dialogue is almost funny here because he says, while the world government grows arrogant, right? And I'm like, you can say that about them, but we can say the same about you, Kaido. You're saying, well, I've joined Big Mom. I'm going to get ancient weapons. I'm going to get a One Piece. I'm going to get the world. Is that not some arrogance, or I guess overconfidence? Or maybe it's just confidence. Kaido wants the ancient weapons, he wants the One Piece, and for him, he feels like having Big Mom on his side, he's kind of gotten the power and the strength needed to get it, which isn't that far-fetched. Two Yonko joining together is something that the world government did not want at all. The entire system was made to keep them away from each other, to keep this balance in check, and now this balance is completely thrown off. How will the world government respond? And obviously they have the SSG, so then that's going to be the main purpose or the main response to this. But again, we'll talk about that a bit more this week. Big Mom showing up is very cool because Big Mom has so many homies with her now, right? Because that's her power. She can just turn whatever into homies. She has Zeus back, right? And Zeus is just so sad. Zeus looks like, oh man, I'm in so much trouble when I get home. That's Zeus's face right now. And Nami and Carrot, they've been captured. So, you know, this notion of Big Mom's incompetence, you know, it's continued on and on and on. But Big Mom has just been, you know, somewhat of a sacrifice for the Straw Hats so that they don't get decimated. But it's no question, if the narrative calls for it, she can't. Like, she has everything in her toolbox to complete a simple mission like that. So she has Nami and Carrot, and Robin's like, oh my god, Nami, right? So they're gonna have to make a move here. Big Mom's speech here, I think, is a nail in the coffin, or her dialogue, where she talks about, yo, if you fight and bicker, it'll stay out of reach, but when we join sides, we pull it within range, which all but guarantees that they're gonna fight at some point, and they're not going to get what they're going for. We still can't forget the storyline of Perospero. That's still out there. We're not sure what's going on with that. And Marco, those could line up, but I doubt it. At this point, I don't think that's the case. I think it's a completely different person that Marco was going for. A major talking point from the chapter, Kaido has decapitated Orochi. An amazing moment, especially with King being there. I think without saying it, you can tell who the right-hand man is of the Yonko. You don't have to explicitly state, oh, this is my right-hand man. You can tell based off of actions and competency who the right-hand man is. That's why the Straw Hats are so unique and such a powerhouse, because in any situation, any Straw Hat can step up. But who's the most consistent person to step up on the Straw Hats? I think it's pretty clear. It's Sanji. Kaido, at this point, the new Onigashima is an interesting topic. Essentially, he's ridding the world of Wano. Wano is no more. He's, in a way, he's trying to turn Wano into the Pirate Islands beehive, where it's going to be a land of pirates, where he's going to be raiding. And he's saying that the culture of Wano means nothing to us. So Kazuki, Kurozumi, that doesn't matter. Pick a side or you die, which I think a lot of people enjoyed because it's bringing back the feeling of piracy, right? It feels like Kaido is a pirate again. It's no more just waiting it out and buying time. It seems like Kaido finally is making a move. The whole conversation in regards to Kaido choosing Yamato to be the shogun of Wano, that's an interesting one because that's something we talked about, me and Lando. I had mentioned that in a video as well in regards to just the hierarchy, and it's definitely a reorganization because it had mentioned Yamato and Onigashima. That was the only thing that I could see, you know, happening there. But yeah, he wants Yamato, his son, to be the shogun of New Onigashima. Not sure how that would happen because Yamato does not want to do that. But in cases like this, you just hold something over the person's head. Hey, if you don't do this, then I'll do this. So more than likely, Yamato is going to be forced to help Kaido in a way. But we have to see how it plays out. Luffy's currently going after Momo because we can't have them kill Momo here. That doesn't, no. Orochi was a sacrificial lamb to spruce up this announcement. And the fact that he used Orochi to show how serious he is, it's perfect. But yeah, Orochi isn't dead. Definitely isn't dead. Like someone said recently, we just don't believe Oda anymore. Something I read recently rereading Wano is the Moria versus Katarina Devon and Shiryu. And it's like Absalom just got killed off screen. It was like, it was so cool finding out that way we did. But in this moment, seeing someone lose their head, we're like, nah, I still don't believe it. It's just like how we feel about Oda and just deaths right now. But it was a goat moment, a great moment. So it is what it is. At the end here as well, I mentioned Kanjuro, and it seems like he's gotten stabbed or someone's gotten stabbed. Kiku is crying. The route I'm going is that Kanjuro drew someone that looks exactly like Odin, and Kiku had to stab this thing. Of course, it's dripping, so people thinking it's blood. It's more than likely ink. And so for Kiku doing that, I'm sure that was tough for for her to do, right? As far as the pronouns for Yamato, I think now it's even more shaky because it seems like Yamato does not even believe she's Odin. I think it goes just to her wanting to be Odin, and Odin at this point, it's just a figure for her. And the only reason why she's saying she's a male is because Odin is a male, so I don't think it's as deep as like Kiku, where Kiku says she feels like she's a female. In her heart, she's a female. For Yamato, it's like, oh, it's Odin, and I just want to be Odin, so it seems a bit more surface level than Kiku stuff. That's why I'm more comfortable saying she for Yamato and she for Kiku, even though they're completely different situations. It's funny, Kanjuro's out here drawing headless, but you worried about the wrong headless, fam. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Give me your thoughts. How do you feel about the chapter? I thought it was a great chapter. I don't have to give it a rating. You know what it is. One Piece, we know how we get down. Make sure to like the video. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BrogWithTheAce. Follow me on Instagram, BrogWithThe.ace. Thank you to all my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. You guys support me so much. I thank you. Twitch.tv/BrogWithTheAce tonight. Ghost of Tsushima. Zora's voice actor. You gotta love it. Again, like, subscribe. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.